Welcome to the Ogden City Council's quick meeting recap for the work session, special RDA, and City Council meeting that took place on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. In the work session, the Council reviewed an update from the Public Services Department on different options for Ogden City's recycling services. Administration is proposing that Ogden City moves on from an existing arrangement with Recycled Earth in favor of an arrangement with Wasatch Integrated Waste. The change in vendor currently causes no financial or scheduling impact to Ogden City residents. Public Services will evaluate the new arrangement and potentially return to City Council in January of 2023 to discuss the topic further. The Council then received an update on the Community Renewable Energy Program. Council staff reviewed documents that the Council will need to approve prior to submittal of the Community Renewable Energy Agency's application to the Public Service Commission. These documents include a utility agreement, a low-income plan, and model ordinance. A fact-finding work session will be held on November 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The Council then reviewed and discussed a proposed rezone of property located at 305 Harrison Boulevard. The proposal is to rezone this property from single-family residential zone to two-family residential zone. The petition is meant to allow the development of a duplex townhouse group dwelling development on a 2.46-acre property. This rezone will be considered in the meeting on November 15th. In the special RDA meeting, members of the Diversity Commission recognized Native American Indian and Alaskan Native leaders making a difference in Ogden in honor of Native American Heritage Month. 3 individuals were recognized, including Jeanette Jones, Darren Perry, and Alex Hawley. The RDA board then authorized the executive director to execute an LTDA and reimbursement agreement with developer Q-Factor. The approved agreements with Q-Factor are for the rehabilitation and development of 1.81 acres of land located at the Union Stock Exchange building and site within the Trackline Economic Development Area. The project is to rehabilitate and expand the Union Stock Exchange building and build a second building on the same property to the east. The development of the site includes parking, site improvements, and historic preservation activities. The board then approved a budget amendment related to the Stock Exchange building. The proposed budget amendment recognizes a transfer of $845,000 from the Ogden City CIP fund to the RDA. It recognizes $200,000 Q-Factor will pay for the purchase of the property. The agency will provide an incentive of $800,000 to Q-Factor and use $40,000 for other development costs. In the City Council meeting, the Council approved updates to the Neighbor Up grant program guidelines. The changes include adding language to limit grant awards to 1 per year per sponsor or co-sponsor and neighborhood. This will allow for funding to be spread out citywide and help with tax implications. Under common consent, the Council approved the appointments of Tony Pantone and Sarah Langston and the consideration of the reappointments of Brian Scatty, Mary E. Willis McMillan, Sue Wilkerson, Judy Mitchell, James Wilson, and Thomas Moore to the Landmarks Commission. The appointments of Erica McDonald and Taylor Lee to the Natural Resources and Sustainability Stewardship Committee were also approved. After a public hearing, the Council approved a budget amendment related to the Stock Exchange building. The budget amendment increases the budget for fiscal year 2023 by $194,900. The proposed budget amendment from the city includes transfer of $845,000 from the CIP fund to the RDA for the purchase of the Exchange building. It also recognizes revenues of $88,200 from the United Way Homelessness Advocate Grant for the purchase of 2 police vehicles to support homeless outreach efforts. It also recognizes $106,700 in other miscellaneous grants. The Council then amended the Ogden Municipal Code to revise design standards in Ogden's BEH zone. The petition was submitted by Denver-based developer Q-Factor to allow for the development of the area around and connected to the historic Stock Exchange building in the Trackline Economic Development Area. The amendments will reduce side and rear yard setbacks, reduce parking requirements, increase the maximum building height, and amend requirements for several architectural elements. The Council approved a rezone for property located at 682 712 7th Street. This ordinance would rezone 7 properties in this area from single-family residential zone to two-family residential zone. The initial petition requested the R3 multiple family residential zone. However, the Council felt that the R2 zone was more appropriate for the property. The property owners do not currently have plans for a proposed development. The entire recording for the meetings of November 1st can be accessed on the Ogden City Council's Facebook page and podcast with timestamps to skip to specific agenda items. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to the Council office at 801-629-8153 or send an email to citycouncil@ogdencity.com.